And it's, once again, a senseless loss in our bodybuilding community. Dave Palumbo here with an RX Muscle news update. By now you've heard, but it took me a couple of days to process this and decide to make a tribute to the late, great Manuel Lomeli, also known as El Charro. El Charro in Spanish means the cowboy. So obviously he was one of these guys that went out there and did his own thing, but he always was there to help other people and bring them together, just like a cowboy does when he brings all the herd home at the end of the day. And I met Lomeli a long time ago. I met him in Tijuana. And Kathy LaFrancois, the IFBB Pro Women's Bodybuilder, was training him at the time. And she said, "You have to see this guy. He won Mr. Mexico. He looks great. I think he's going to be a great IFBB Pro." And I remember this, I don't even know the name of the gym. We were in this little gym and he was posing for me, and we have some footage somewhere on RX Muscle, I know we recorded. And I was impressed. I said, this guy's got potential. You know, he was super ripped, hard, had a lot of, good quality muscle. And, he didn't speak any English, but he seemed like a really nice guy. Now, when I heard of this tragedy, which was that two men on motorcycles pulled up next to his car, and I think they fired 7 shots, if I'm correct. And I think he still drove the car 2 blocks before, he died. It was obviously a hit. Some people are saying it was cartel related. Obviously, someone specifically went after him. Now, interestingly, 5 months previous to this, he had had another attempt on his life where I think he was shot in his elbow or something like that, or they missed killing him. And I know he went to police because I spoke to his brother, and the police didn't seem to want to do anything, which seems pretty consistent with if it was the cartel that was behind it and someone wanted him dead. The police are kind of in cahoots supposedly with the cartel over there in Mexico. It's not like the United States here. There is a lot of corruption there. What I don't understand is I don't know why he wouldn't have just left. I know he owned his own gym there and he had a business there, and obviously this is where his family was from. But when someone's trying to kill you and you get away with it once, it's probably a good idea to not hang around. But I spoke to his brother. I wanted to reach out and send my condolences, and his brother, basically told me that something that I didn't know, obviously, about El Charro. He was a very sensitive guy. He had a family, kids. He would go to watch, Disney movies, and he would cry during the princess movies because he was very emotional, very empathetic. He was the kind of guy that would stop and rescue stray dogs on the street, bring them in, take them in, feed them, bring them back to good health. He was compassionate. He had a heart for children. He would help children, his brother told me. He would give them his last penny if it meant helping them to have clothing they didn't have or feeding them. That was who this man was. He wasn't just a pro bodybuilder. Yes, he was a great bodybuilder. He was probably one of the best Mexican bodybuilders of the last decade or so. And he'll go down in remembrance of that, but more so and more importantly, he wanted to help people. He helped animals. He helped everyone, anyone in need. He was El Charro. He was the cowboy. He was at the end of the day, he was there to bring everyone home. And that's what we should remember him for all the good he did for the community, for the bodybuilders he helped, the people's lives he touched, the animals, and for his family, who are probably mourning his loss now. This is a terrible, terrible thing. It's one thing when someone gets a critical illness or has a heart attack that we kind of have no control over, but to see someone gunned down in their neighborhood where they work, where their business is, the family and friends around them, it's a tragedy. it just goes to show you that, you know, you can criticize this country all you want, but at the end of the day, we have safety here, we have rights here, we have the best country in the world, and everyone out there should not take that for granted. I know people like to cast aspersions at the government and cast aspersions at how terrible this country is, but we have freedoms and rights and protections that don't exist in every other country out there. And the death of El Charro proves that. And it's, once again, a senseless loss in our bodybuilding community. I hate doing these videos. I mean, I love doing them because I know that it gives the loved ones and the friends and the fans of the person I do this for, gives them some sort of closure. It makes them feel like I'm honoring that person, and that's exactly what I am doing. But it hurts me, and it does hurt my heart when I have to see people in the prime of their life dying, you know, whether it be from illness or suicide, or in this case, homicide. I truly hope they catch the people who did it. I'm sure they probably won't down there. But it reminds me of, you know, when I was in my 20s, I went to high school with a guy by the name of Harry Pappas. Probably guys from the New York area will know who I'm talking about. And he was in my high school. He was a year younger than me, actually. And he worked at a store, a bodybuilding store that was owned by a friend of mine, the late Vinny Hanzik. And he would work there, and at night he would bounce at different clubs. He was working at this one place called Chevy's. It was a bar, and Harry, you know, was the doorman, and he ran the club. But, you know, he didn't let people get away with anything. You know, if someone started trouble, you know, he'd give them a beating. You know, and that's just the way he was. When you do that, there's always one crazy lunatic, you know, who doesn't like it, and it's going to come back and do something about it. And someone hired two guys on motorcycles, same exact. That's why I got deja vu when I heard this story. Rode up as he was leaving the club one night, and they fired a couple shots into him, and that was the end of Harry Pappas. Also, another sad, unnecessary death of a guy who was like 24 years old in the prime of his life, and I hate to see that. Moral of the story is, you never know when your time is up. Live life to its fullest. Live for your loved ones. But if you are in jeopardy, or you think that something could potentially happen to you, I always say get out. Even if it's inconvenient, it's not worth losing your life over. And I don't know what the reason was why people wanted to take El Charro out of this world when they did. But obviously, someone had a problem with him. Maybe there was jealousy there. Maybe they didn't like that he had his own business. Maybe he wasn't paying guys off. I don't know what the reason was. No one really has told me that. I don't think anyone will ever probably reveal that. But at the end of the day, we lost a great man. And if I could honor him here, I will, and I hope I did today. I want to send out my prayers and condolences to his family, from everyone here at RX Muscle. We had another very bad loss in our community, and hopefully come Olympia time this coming weekend, we can say a prayer for him up on the stage there and honor him as we see our next Mr. Olympia crowned for 2023. I'm Dave Palumbo with an RX Muscle News Update.